The Heroic Quest of Prince Ivanhoe. It's Comics and Shots, a completely improvised semi-comedic musing by Howard Stern's Mick the Nerd, aka YouTube and TikTok's Mick the Man, aka Mick the Maverick, aka a guy who's really confused why this lady's coming at 8 p.m. to pick up a fridge. Must be busy, I guess. Today's subject: the problem with negative criticism of modern comics, at least with the big two. I'm going to say this as plainly as possible. Every single person complaining about modern comics most likely has a right to. Most likely. Except for the racists and the sexists and the homophobes. Those guys can die in a fire, but a lot of y'all are complaining about real things, too. Like Spider-Man, for example. I'm not going to give any more examples. It's Spider-Man. Well, no more examples for Spider-Man. Venom's lore got really confusing. Thor is underexposed. Captain America is underexposed. Iron Man, I don't even know anymore. Ugh. The X-Men have been so basically corrupted by later writers that it ended up barely being anything like what it's supposed to be in a metaphor of diversity. Ugh. And it just turned into a weird Game of Thrones. Ugh. Batman is just way too much everywhere in DC. Barely any exposure for some of the more obscure heroes. There hasn't been a Teen Titans book in years. Yara Flor still doesn't have a book. She's a cool new character. I like her. And, okay, how many did he do for Marvel and how many did he do for DC? And this was about the problem with complaining. Oh, yeah. Ignoring all my particular pet peeves with DC and Marvel. A main problem, it's kind of more for DC and Marvel in general. The more social media posts I see for the new comics on both sides are complaints. Like, there's some happy posts here and there, but a lot of it is complaints. A lot of it is complaints. A large portion. And a lot of the good comics that are produced by both companies get buried in the landslide of negativity. And in the case of Marvel, it's exceptionally bad because the comics that people complain about the most are Spider-Man and X-Men, which are kind of their flagship titles, and you can just believe the lie, oh, complaints on the internet don't actually accurate to sales. Sales don't matter, okay? They don't. They don't. Comic book companies have been slowly dying for the past couple decades, and they've just been scraping by all along with support by the giant corporations that they've had babying them for years. Sales don't matter. They'll say, oh, Amazing Spider-Man's selling really well. Sure it is. It's selling well under the thumb of Disney because you have all the MCU cash. And sadly, I feel the same for like Batman and everything. Yeah. Plus, they don't even release their actual sales data anymore, so we have no idea how much of what they're saying is actually true. We know how much people are reordering comics, but not reselling. Buying, yeah. Ugh. Chablis. Yeah, and Marvel and DC gotta work on that. Also, DC, just make a new Justice League book soon, please. It feels like the only reason you had the Justice League disband in the first place was just so everybody could complain about it in the comics. And then it's like, oh, hey, it's the return of the Justice League. Isn't this our great? Yeah, I like the Titans too, but the Titans shouldn't be the replacement for the Justice League. They should be the other Justice League. You feel me? We need the Justice League and the Titans, but everybody's just separated and doing everything else, and Aquaman hasn't had a goddamn book in years. Ugh. Of course, the last run was kind of weird from what I remember. That's not about the complaints, but yeah, it is also about the legitimate complaints. DC and Marvel, you gotta do something with your comic book brands because sooner or later, your big bosses are gonna start asking for more. Like, wow us, please. New ideas. DC, do you have any idea how happy I was with the We Are Heroes initiative? That was something new. New actual ideas. Marvel. NY X-Men? Really? That's nix. It'll make people think to nix it, to get away with it. It's a terrible name. Horrible name. And also, like, you put, and let's get real here. Making Ms. Marvel a mutant was half brand synergy, half the X-Men have been losing popularity for years in comic book form, and we gotta attach one of the newest, most popular characters to our brand. You know that's true. Yeah. Also, there's a Dazzler comic, so... Yeah, so I guess the 3 people who like Dazzler should be happy for that 6-issue mini, I'm assuming. If it goes longer for 6 issues, like, why? Grace Summers was right. She does nothing. She basically does nothing. Don't pretend you're a Dazzler fan. You all died out. And if you are a Dazzler fan, you're dead. You're a ghost whose only mission in life is to convince comic book fans that Dazzler is still interesting and relevant. But it'll never happen, so you will roam the earth forevermore. Yeah. More interesting than Longshot, but still. Ugh. Yeah. That's actually another thing that people complain about. It's X-Men is kind of like Marvel's Batman, weirdly enough, but it's with a team. They've so much X-Men, so much freaking X-Men. Like what? Like 6 different team books? You only need like a few, okay? You don't need that many X-Men books. And like a Mystique series sounds kind of interesting, but also I don't kind of care, you know? Also, the final, with the final thing on the X-Men, next time just give Nightcrawler a book with his name on it. None of that uncanny Spider-Man bullshit. That was just insulting. Somebody pitched a Nightcrawler book, and then someone in editorial says, yeah, but let's make Spider-Man to make people want to buy it. You know that that's true. Also, would it have been that hard to just have a mutant be bitten by a spider? Like, have Nightcrawler be bitten by a spider temporarily? Yeah. And with Marvel, new characters like Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, they're basically shoved to the wayside. Champions, people like them, have that focus on them again. Yeah. Power Pack. Try to do something with the modern Power Pack. I know people prefer the old school stuff, but come on. Yeah. Back to DC, like, mostly just less Batman books. Make a new Stargirl book, that would be nice. People like Stargirl. If you just let Jeff Johns do a Stargirl series again, you'd probably have kept him. Of course, I've heard some problematic things about him as a person, so... pick your poison, you know. What it all boils down to is that I don't think DC and Marvel are doing the best they can to showcase their good comics because they put so many events and nostalgia-driven properties to the forefront that only exist to push an event or drive nostalgia. Don't get me wrong, nostalgia is the reason why I buy a lot of series featuring old characters, but it shouldn't be the only thing. Have more room for new ideas. Just new ideas in general. This one is extremely rambly, I know, but there is truth here. I want you to know that. DC and Marvel make more like stories that are good beyond your most famous brands, especially if the stories that are featuring your most famous brands are highly contested and criticized. Especially mostly Marvel. But yeah. Just focus on that, please, and don't give me that lie that sales data says no. No. I know how much American comic books are actually sold. Okay? Just be better, please. By that, like, comment, and subscribe. Donate if you're feeling nice. Share it with a bear, and always remember, praise be to the blood elk, fear the stabopotamus, and death to Kronos. Also with Image. Is anyone even reading Rat City? I don't think they are. Have a night, folks.